Demands requires farmers and ranchers to tailor their production approaches. But it's much more than crops and cattle. Let's head for the Carolina coast, where some fishermen keep an eye on the market while keeping an eye on production. It's early morning along North Carolina's Atlantic coast. And this fishing boat is just back from its journey miles out into the ocean. Filled to the brim from its saltwater run, the catch includes fish like this 25-pound grouper.
Beautiful fish here, excellent on the grill, can't beat it. Fried, grilled, blackened, sauteed, however you want to do it. Best fish in the ocean.
More than 400 pounds of fish will be offloaded and driven across town. A special delivery to a man around here who's famous for fishing.
My name is Jack Cox. Crystal Coast Fisheries is our wholesale company and Blue Ocean Seafood Market is our retail.
Jack Cox is hooked on fishing. He's been hauling in catches off the Carolina coast since he was 6 years old. He went off to college and then launched a construction career. But the ocean called, and Jack took the bait to come back home. 30 years later,
With some form or fashion, we're offloading seafood every day. That we have the fresh product coming in, and we are trying to keep a supply of it. You know, the restaurants are counting on us. We've built a business. The consumer comes into the fish market, and we want to make sure that we have the product 12 months out of the year.
Jack's oceanside operation is a full-scale fish house. Fishing is big business here on the North Carolina coast. Recreational fishing alone generated $2 billion for the state in 2013. But commercial fisheries are facing real challenges in their efforts to stay afloat.
It's not so much like it was 10 years ago, 15 years ago. The regulations have changed a lot. So fishermen are really, trying to survive now. Now the industry has consolidated. It's a lot smaller. Fishermen they're pretty much struggling trying to find places to offload their seafood. Fish houses are closing up and down the coast, so it has changed quite a bit.
Jack Cox says that survival has been challenged by a variety of factors. Those include the nation's economic landscape as well as coastal real estate being impacted by residential expansion. In addition, regulations have shortened harvest seasons for certain varieties to prevent overfishing.
What we have learned is the consumer is willing to pay whatever the price is to an extent, to get a fresh, local, organic product. It's an incredible, expensive source of protein. It takes a lot to go out and harvest it and bring it in. The cost of fuel has changed the landscape a lot. So our industry, we've probably got less than half of the fishermen that we had 10 years ago.
Jack has now joined forces with the Seafood Harvesters of America. It's an organization where fishermen from across the country are working with policymakers in Washington to help the fishing industry. The group also gives consumers a voice at the table to keep fresh seafood abundant and available. Your entire goal really is to promote North Carolina fishing.
Rob, that's right. What we do is we offload boats here and trying to keep the fishermen in business and kind of keep the consumer getting the North Carolina seafood that we offload here, and just trying to keep this stuff coming in year-round is the key to it.
One of the ways it's working can be found at Blue Ocean Seafood Market, a retail store run by Jack and his business partner, David Tucker. On this July day, the delivery board is packed with fish caught just off the Carolina coast and sold to customers.
We catch a lot of product ourselves. We have boats. We buy off different boats. We buy from different seafood houses around the area. I was just on the phone with an oyster man that shucks oysters for me, so told him to send me 48 gallons of oysters down here to sell this weekend. And we're just always looking for all kinds of shellfish, shrimp, clams. We've got a good clam man on Harvest Island. We've got soft-shell crabs that we get down east, and just all different kinds of seafood. And we just whatever the demand is, whatever people want, we try to find it.
It looks wonderful.
Locals make their seafood choices, after which it's filleted right on the spot. Marianne Holland likes the convenience and connection to her local community.
I come in here regularly, and a lot of times I have seen people, or sometimes when I've seen people shopping for seafood in a grocery store, I'll tell them that they really ought to check out Blue Ocean.
Because of the fresh?
Because it's right from the ocean. It's true. I mean, their boats come right over here, right off the boat, right off the boat.
It's that customer connection and the love of the fishing industry that keeps Jack Cox in the water and in the game for the long haul. Jack says he'll be hitting the high seas no matter the storms the fishing industry endures. Regardless of the challenges that you are facing here on the water, fishing still brings you joy.
You know something, I try to get out there at least a day a week. I love fishing, I love scuba diving, I want to be out there with it. It's an incredible place. When you get out there on the ocean, there's nothing but you and the boat and fish and birds. It's a really neat place to be, and it just kind of takes everything and puts it in perspective, you know, and you can kind of slow down. You don't have a computer, you don't have a cell phone, and it really relaxes me. I enjoy it.
I'd say you're hooked.
I would say I am as well.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Let's give you a couple of things that set North Carolina apart. The state's Cape Hatteras Lighthouse is the tallest in the United States. And North Carolina claims the first gold rush in America. That followed the discovery of a 17-pound gold nugget in the western portion of North Carolina in 1799.
Changing taste and changing demographics can also affect consumer demand when it comes to food production. Immigration patterns influence what shopkeepers have on their shelves. And the growth of television cooking shows, along with an explosion of specialized cookbooks, has provided a chance for some people to push the envelope when it comes to spices. That's great news for one farmer in Arizona. Our Sarah Gardner says it's all about creating the perfect pepper.
Manuel, el cayenne es otro, es chile, ¿verdad? El otro es el Enseña.
It's a warm afternoon in the arid desert landscape of Arizona. But here on Ed Curry's farm, it's always chilly. Ed spends a lot of time in what you might call heated conversation with his workers. Together, they're carefully tending long rows of chili plants with a single goal in mind, creating the perfect pepper.
It's a very tedious, slow process, the breeding, but it's also very, very rewarding.